You've probably heard about retrieval-augmented generation. In fact, we just did a video about the basics of RAG, but you might have said, that's for data scientists. That's not really for me. I'm a business owner. But what if I told you you could build a working RAG agent today inside of Microsoft Azure with no code required? So I'm going to show you exactly how to build your first RAG agent step by step using your own data, Microsoft native secure tools, and plain business logic. In the end, you're going to walk away with a live data connected RAG agent powered by ChatGPT 4.0 and an understanding of how to connect Azure services the smart way. This will give you a business ready model that you can deploy, test, and scale just like you want to. The only thing that you're going to need to start is an Azure subscription. And if you want to find out how to get one, just go to azure.microsoft.com and sign up for a free account, and you'll have access to all of the Azure tools that you'll need. You won't need to pause or anything like that to screenshot because the whole tutorial will be in the free school community that'll be linked down in the description. So what are we building exactly today when we talk about a RAG agent? So if we take a look at the data that's here on the left, this is just an Excel file with about 700 rows of sales data for a fictitious company that has various segments and countries and products. And it's just a simple Excel file with a header. But what if we want to ask questions of that data, which is ultimately what gives us the power to make good decisions in the business? So we have this file and we have an Azure account and we want to connect an agent to it. So what exactly is Azure once you sign up and you go into this Azure portal or this Azure world? Let's take a look at that. So if you think about Azure as a massive server farm, think of this as a bunch of servers located around the globe. So there's all these geographic locations that have server farms in them. And inside of the actual server farm, if this is a building, there's just a whole bunch of servers connected to power sources, right? And inside of each of those servers, think of it as a, specialized PC. They're going to load up various programs on each of these servers and various types of operating systems and all of these tools that you can access. You can access all of this through the cloud, right? So you can connect from your computer anywhere or your mobile device through the cloud to the server farm. And that, in essence, is Azure. Now, when we consider Azure by itself, there's a ton of ways that we can connect all kinds of things. How do we build an agent? What would we actually need? So let me clean this up a bit. Okay, so if we're talking about our specific RAG agent, inside of Azure, we have this big box, and we're going to, in essence, create 3 tools that allow us to build an agent without code. So the first tool that we're going to need is a storage container, and we call these resources. So this would be a storage resource. And then we're going to have a search resource. And then we're going to actually have an agent resource. And we're going to configure each one of these and we're going to connect them. So we'll have a storage resource that has our actual information. So this is our data. And we're going to put in our case, this Excel file inside of this storage resource. And then we're going to configure the search resource to create indexes. And think of these indexes as, in essence, taking your Excel file and breaking it into little chunks. And as you create little chunks, you're going to give them numbers. And the index will create an array of those numbers. And those indexes will be used to search in the RAG agent. So the search resource chunks it down, and we connect that to our storage resource so it knows what to chunk down. And then we take that and connect it to our agent resource. So now when we ask it a question or a query, it will take our prompt and then it will add to it the RAG information that it gets from the indexes. And then that will give us our response or our answer, right? So let's take a look at each of these three components. We have the storage resource, our search resource, and we'll have our agent resource. So let's take a look at what those actually look like in Azure. If I go to my Azure account, I'm inside of my resource group, and this is an internal resource group that has all of my tools and toys in it. So the first thing we want to look at is our storage resource. So if I find that one in the list, let's take a look. Here it is. This is what I named it earlier. And then I configured it. And inside this storage resource, I have containers. And these containers allow me to segregate and separate the data. So if I then go into the container, I created one here. It's a blob storage container. And blob storage simply means that I can put anything in there. I can put in structured data or unstructured data, like, videos or something like that. But in this case, if I open up that container, there's my Excel file. So once I've got the storage resource configured, I need to go and create a search resource. And so let me see if I can find my search resource. Let's go to all resources and let's find that specific one. Okay, here's my search resource. Now you can see that I've configured it already, and then I can connect my data, and then I can actually explore the data. Now, the important thing about this search resource is that it has a few other components. Inside of the search management, you'll see that there's indexers and there's skill sets. Skill sets, just think of those as kind of the kung fu of the search index. It's, okay, I can look at an Excel file, or I can break down a video, or I can look for PII, which is personally identifiable information. So there's different things that your index can do, or some things you don't want it to do, right? So we'll talk about skill sets another time, but an indexer is the actual tool that is used to chunk down each one of those pieces so that we can put it into a query and get back an answer. And so here we've created our indexer. So now indexer, the search resource, is complete. The last component is our agent resource. So if we go back to our resource group and we find our agent resource, it is under AI Foundry. So now if I open up this AI Foundry resource, it will ask me to go to the portal after I've configured it. And when I go to the portal, this will actually open up the agent itself, or the place where I can build the agent. And you can see you have this interface. It's a full-fledged production interface. And so in this case, if I go to agents, I've already created the agent. And if I select that agent, you can see that I've connected my knowledge base here. This is the actual search index that I created in the last step, and I've connected that. So at this point, I've got all three of my components. I've got the storage, I've got a search, and I've got the agent. And I can then just try this in the playground. And so if I go to the playground, I can now ask a question of the agent. I've connected the model. And if I say, what is our best selling product? So it's creating the query and it's attaching the information from the chunked down version of the Excel file. And we're going to see that provide us with the answer. Our best selling product based on units sold is the Paseo, blah, 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 right? So let's find out which countries did we sell to. I can ask this question, and it should give me the countries that we sold to for that product. That product has been sold in various countries, including the United States, Canada, Mexico, France, and Germany. So now you can see how powerful this can actually be, because if we look at what we were able to accomplish, we were able to take our existing knowledge and we created a secure business storage for that knowledge. And then we turned that data into a searchable knowledge base. We connected that AI model and retrieved that information and reasoned on the data, and then we deployed it in real time. This was a live RAG agent with no code. And we did all of this inside of Microsoft Azure's secure ecosystem. So what do we do next? Well, we repeat this process with a second set of data and add access controls and usage limits. And then we deploy the agent into a production Teams bot, app, or a web portal, or wherever you want. So if you're a business leader, tired of hearing about AI and you're ready to see it actually work, this is your proof. Imagine this agent hooked up to your CRM. This agent hooked up to invoices. This agent hooked up to RFPs or contracts. That's the real power of AI in business. So visit the free school community to find the full playbook with screenshots for this full tutorial. I'll put the link in the description. I'll see you soon.